Long travel, downhill, 180mm or more of plush suspension travel to give you an armchair feel down the most technical of terrain to the biggest bike park booters. Today we're taking a look at the options and the type of riding these big bikes are designed for.
Yes, plus all the news from what you guys have been doing from all parts of the globe. Well, the big news this week seems to be Shimano are finally launching a gearbox system for mountain bikes, but a bit more of that later. First of all, Chris, did you see that Cedric Gracia has been out on his Forest-style bike in Andorra yet again? It seems from the video that they're on the verge of launching this bike, which is really exciting. I mean, they are making the frame in Andorra, the battery and the motor in Andorra. I think it's really cool. I think the design's cool. I think the whole idea of building bikes, everything in Andorra itself is cool. And I think it definitely has a USP. Now, you see a lot of people coming out with bike brands. I think there's already too many bike brands on the market, but this brand, I think it's got something special, which is missing, because you see loads of bike brands, they make the 160 bike, they do it the same, it have aluminium or carbon, but this is a different design. It's, like I said, it's got everything new to it. It's got the motor, the batteries, all done by themselves, which is a huge risk. But, I think they might have it. I think they might have it.
That's cool, doesn't it? And with someone like Cedric Gracia behind the scenes working on it, it's sure to be exciting.
Definitely.
But I think even more exciting is the news of Shimano.
Even more exciting?
Yeah, even more exciting is the patent that Shimano have applied for a gearbox. Now, this is something we've been after for a long time, especially with e-bikes. Super exciting design. It's a sealed gearbox, basically, with two 7-speed cassettes in there that work with a chain in unison to make the cassettes work together.
Giving it how many gears?
Giving it 13 gears in total, so nice lightweight design. It's also got a frictionless coating on there, so gearbox designs traditionally have a lot of friction in there. That's why they've been adopted by traditional mountain bikes.
Yeah.
But I think with this gearbox design we're seeing from Shimano, I think it might be linked in with their new motor that we've heard rumours of, the MT9 or the E9000, and might work in conjunction with this gearbox. But the gearbox is definitely going to happen. I'd love to see it in conjunction with an e-bike motor, and Shimano could definitely be the people to do it.
Can I just say, I think the motor will happen. I think the gearbox will happen. I can't see the gearbox and the motor happening at the same time.
The patent at the moment is on a traditional mountain bike, but I'm seeing that could easily be applied to a Shimano motor.
Guys, let us know your thoughts on the Forest-style bikes, what you think of the design, and what you think about the whole gearbox system. And we've been rattling on about it for years now. I mean, we saw Alan Milliard come out with his hermetically sealed drivetrain almost 10 years ago now, so it is way overdue, that's for sure. Now, an e-downhill bike or an e-long travel bike is a certain breed with certain characteristics about it which set it apart from many other e-bikes, such as all-mountain ones or enduro ones. It could even be the bike that you substitute for an uplift truck up in the mountains. So its use is primarily going to be getting involved in more gravity-style riding. You've got lots of rocks, got lots of roots to get involved with. So the geometry needs to be specific to that type of riding. And so, what type of geometry numbers are we looking at? Well, first and foremost, the head angle. And the head angle needs to be reasonably slack, so that's going to give the bike some stability. That's probably going to be matched with a reasonably long wheelbase to the bike. Now, bottom bracket, these bikes are cornering flying machines, remember. So you're probably looking at a slightly lower bottom bracket than you'd have on, say, a cross-country bike, around about 340, 350 millimeters. But it's probably the componentry which also gives a e-downhill bike an edge as well. As you can see up front on this Husqvarna bike, there's a triple clamp fork on it. Naturally, this bike will have 200 millimeter rotors for the gravity-oriented riding you're going to be doing. Plus, I think it goes without saying that you can have super heavy-duty downhill casing tyres on there as well. Now, this is a classic example of an e-downhill bike. This is the Husqvarna Extreme Cross with 200mm travel front and rear. One thing I didn't mention is when you've got a downhill e-bike, it most probably will have a coil suspension unit on the back. Indeed, it does share a lot of the other componentry features which you'd get on a non-e-downhill bike, such as a wide handlebar and a short stem to give you that stable steering. In terms of the gearing, you're probably going to get some higher gearing than, say, an enduro e-bike, and it's definitely going to be closer ratio. But otherwise, it's pretty much like a non-e-bike, apart from maybe that seat-tube angle, because you're definitely going to be needing that to get up all those hills, which you'd otherwise be doing inside a smelly Uplift van. Now, obviously, you might want your downhill bike to be a little bit more versatile. And so, the likes of Husqvarna and many other brands out there do 180mm travel. You know, that's still a lot of travel for a mountain bike, but there will be some subtle differences, such as maybe a slightly steeper seat-tube angle, maybe a steeper head-tube angle, and overall the balance is going to be more towards climbing and descending rather than just descending. As you can see on this bike here, it's got a much easier gear, in other words, to pedal, plus a far wider cassette range on it. Of course, some bikes are actually on the boundary between enduro and downhill. Check out this Bull Sonic, 180mm travel front and rear. Let me just point out the standover on this bike, which is really, really super low, which means you can move around on the bike really easily. Obviously a seat dropper to help that, and a super short stem. Well, it doesn't get much more downhill than this. The new 2020 Specialized Kenevo, 180mm travel front and rear. There's a coil shock on the back and a triple clamp fork up front for those big hits. Notice as well, it's got quite a steep seat-tube angle on there, which is pretty much puts it in an ideal position for those shuttles back to the top. 700 watt-hour battery gives you a huge range. If you're running a 2 to 3 minute downhill track, you probably get, I don't know, 15 to 20 runs in a day.
So having looked at some long travel e-mountain bikes, what better than to come to the ultimate place to ride such a bike? We are at Revolution Bike Park in North Wales, and we are standing on the legendary Vision Trail. Now, it's not my cup of tea, but my colleague Chris Smith is the man that can very much handle this kind of environment. Chris, talk us through this trail and also the other kind of trails here in Revolution.
Yeah, so this is the Vision line. It was built by Veronique Sandler. She had an image in her head, a vision literally, of this ultimate trail. She designed this trail in collaboration with Revolution and come up with this masterpiece. And it is designed for those big bikes. Riders with big balls can hit this line. It's actually open to the public, but elsewhere in the woods, you've got all these other downhill tracks which are perfect to progress on.
But yeah, like Chris said, there's lots of other downhill tracks here which are far more technical in terms of the ground conditions. You've got roots, you've got rocks, you've got 2 to 3 minute runs. I mean, this Vision Trail is about 40 seconds, right?
Yeah, it's loads of jump.
And it's the perfect place to ride such a bike, right? Because you can session this. I mean, this is a 40-second route.
Exactly.
You can go back and forth here, get everything sweet, right?
Literally when I came, I probably did 30 runs just piecing this together, you know, piece by piece, jump by jump, riding back up, then doing the next jump. And the e-bike and this gradient was perfect. Absolutely bang on.
Now, when we were here shooting the video, you were a little bit reluctant to ride a bike without a motor.
Yeah.
What reason was that?
I just think I've ridden an e-bike now for so long. I just like the stability and the speed, the confidence it gives you, and just the weight of the bike in the air. And I think how you can preload the bike in the faces of the jumps just gives you that extra pop. For me, I just find a standard bike just too light and too skittish now. I can still do it, but I don't feel as comfortable.
Is it just a question you've just adapted to an e-bike and its weight, and it's just about timing?
Yeah,
right?
yeah, surely. Yeah.
Let's talk about long travel e-mountain bikes. Do you think there's a certain geometry that suits a long travel e-mountain bike? I mean, we're looking at slack head angles, low bottom bracket,
slack head angle, low bottom bracket. I quite like a short back end on that bike as well, but a roomy kind of cockpit, just to give you a bit more room. I hate being like on the front wheel. I think that's super slack head angle, and I think the introduction of the big dual crown forks is making that whole cockpit area feel like a big downhill bike with, you know, it just feels amazing.
Now, in terms of setup, now I know Chris, I got on this bike and I went to ride some of the downhill tracks around here. So when I'm riding downhill, I'll probably run about sort of 30 to 40% sag, 30 PSI in the tyres. I got on Chris's bike and we're roughly about the same weight. That bike is set up really solid. You surely wouldn't be able to take that bike and ride some of the downhill bikes, right? There's a certain setup.
Yeah, I think the only thing I'd modify myself for the downhill stuff is just tyre pressure for the bigger stuff, because you get a lot of tyre roll on the e-bikes. You just need to increase that tyre pressure. I think we're running like about 40, sometimes 50 PSI, just to make sure that tyre isn't deforming on some of those hard landings and big takeoffs.
So there you go, a quick look at long travel e-mountain bikes. Get yourself to the Vision Trail in Revolution Bike Park and try it out. Maybe try some of the smaller stuff first.
Definitely.
For now, I'm going to go and ride some of the downhill tracks, Chris.
Let's do it. Coming up on the channel this week, we've got 2 videos from the opposite sides of the spectrum. On Friday, we've got a really basic video all about how does an e-bike actually work.
Yeah, and then on Sunday, the Surrey Hills 6 days with Brendan Fairclough, Bernard Kerr and Ollie Wilkins.
Nice.
Some great comments in from you guys this week. It's always good to see what you think and feel about either the bikes or the places or the people we visit here on EMBN. This one is related to the Levo versus Canevo video, which we did on the weekend. It's from Mr. Scrofulous.
He says, I chose the Canevo. My inner child could not refuse. I can totally relate to that. As soon as I swing my leg over my Canevo, popping wheelies, big skids, you name it, that bike turns you into a kid. I think on the Levo, you feel like a little bit more reserved. You know, kind of like you on the jumps, you know?
Inner child, eh? Daniel Charlie Fernandez says, mid-travel e-bikes are awesome and super capable, but super enduro downhill e-bikes are just in another level of awesomeness. It's usually the rider is the limiting factor, not the bike, as Chris Smith clearly points out.
So it's time for Where in the World. We love seeing the action here on EMBN. See what you guys have been doing on your e-bikes, and we're absolutely rammed to the gills. So first up, we've got Peter. He's been out and about on his Cube Stereo Hybrid 120 in the south of Holland. He's got an extra passenger along the way, and this is his dog Benji. Check this one out.
The big news here is e-biking with the dog, right?
Look at that.
I mean, I love that. That's
cool,
so cute, isn't it? I thought it was going to be a big dog. Obviously, people take their big dogs out on rides. Meanwhile, Marius has been out exploring the mountains of Norway on his Merida E160. What a beautiful landscape there, Chris.
Clouds and that sunset high
Absolutely
up
superb, yeah.
there. Nice. Ryan's just taking part in his first MTB enduro race in the Forest of Dean on his Orange Surge. Super muddy, but loads of fun. 23 e-bikes in total in that class, so a big turnout there.
Yeah.
Coming 6th, even with man flu, so nice work.
Yeah, and Christine has been shredding the slabs of British Columbia, I think.
Steep, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, nice one, Squirrel Squeezer. Like to see your action, as always.
Yeah, keep them coming. Use the uploader service. Details are on the screen. How to get featured on the show.
Now, I hope you guys saw the video which Doddy did earlier in the week on how not to kill your e-mountain bike. Unfortunately, from time to time, things do happen with mechanical equipment. I've just had a phone call from my mechanic saying it's bad news on the MOT. But anyway, Andre Regini from Bristol has recently been down with performance line bearings because he had some problems with his Bosch motor. Quite interesting actually, because Steve Gill has had a motor for 2 years, a Bosch motor, right?
Yeah, no problems
whatsoever. But Andre sent this video in, which is super cool, from everything going on with those guys.
Hi, so I'm down here at Performance Line Bearings with Peter. I brought my Bosch motor down yesterday. It had got some water in it, and I was amazed that Peter had a look at it and has got it done overnight. But in fact, I could have sat and waited and had it done while I was here. So, I mean, how often can you do that for customers?
If we get fair warning, it's no problem at all. We quite like it when customers can come down and actually watch us work, and it's very nice if they can actually see the state of their motor and we can point out the issues and what's caused it, and then obviously put their motors back together in a nice shiny fashion, and they're happy and they can take it away.
Yeah, because you've done an amazing job, and you can see some photographs here in the post that the condition of the parts that went back in are quite amazing. I mean, how often can you recover a motor?
9 times out of 10. If it's a electrical problem with the circuit board, sometimes that can throw us. But anything mechanical we can fix now.
Anything?
Anything. We have a vast stock of parts, new and used. So yeah, if anything's broken, if any bearing surfaces are damaged, we can generally get over it.
Fantastic. And that's the Gen 2 motor, isn't it, that you're working on?
Yeah, the Gen 2, we can do the Bosch Classics. We haven't got quite so many parts for those, and obviously we can do most of the other makes as well.
Right. So, and you can do a bit to Bros and Yamaha and Shimano?
Yeah, we have all the bearings and bits and pieces for the Bros, Yamaha. Shimano are coming. We've just finished the Yamaha PWX motor. We've had a look at some of the Shimano motors, but the E8000, which is what everybody's waiting for, that's one that's on its way.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Peter.
You're welcome.
Right, it's the Bike Vault time. Some amazing images. Do you know what? The images seem to be getting better month on month, week on week, day by day here on EMBN. I just love seeing what's going on wherever it is in the world and seeing how popular e-mountain biking is becoming.
Yeah, it's definitely spreading pretty worldwide as far as we can see from this week's Bike Vault. So kicking things off is Manny on his 2019 YT Decoy race, high up on the Wanakee Ridge in Ramapo State Forest, New Jersey. Look at the colours there.
Yeah, Dalton sent this picture of his Track Powerfly 7 spinning around the 20-mile Arroyo mountain bike loop. Wow, that's cool.
2 GoPros on there, stealth as hell. Nigel has been up at the Ogwen Waterfalls in North Wales on his high bike full 7.5. Been out for a ride with his wife in the rain. Looks pretty nasty.
Big ride with his wife in the rain. Levan from Indiana, USA with his 2018 high bike Xturo. All mounted 8, swapping out lots of parts, dropper post, seat post, 1x drivetrain. Looking really sweet.
That's cool. Antti-Pekka. So he's
Antti-Pekka.
Out in Helsinki. First ride on the Neuron on, switch for Canyon Spectral on 9.0. Crazy light, look at that as well. Super stealth bike, looks amazing. Mixed in there with the
Chris,
consumer
I think all those bikes deserve a super nice.
They do look.
So I know you guys have been worried about not having nices and super nices. We can still keep the super nices going on.
Definitely
so
do
I'm
like a
giving
super nice.
5 super nices for those bikes. Cool.
Eric's recently turned to mountain biking. 2 e-bikers just brought a 2020 Felt Surplus 50. Pic was taken on the Cuyahoga Falls in Ohio.
Yeah.
Water backdrops look amazing.
Yeah, and moving from Eric to Derek. How do you like that? This Derek has been hitting the trails hard after some shoulder surgery on his Merida E1600E out on the John Forest National Park in Perth, Western Australia. Which brings us to this week's podium e-mountain bikes. And first off is...
Third place is David on a great looking KTM Machina. It's up on the Ben Lamont Sadon Queenstown after a 52 kilometre ride and a 6 a.m. start.
Whoa.
Amazing ride, a little bit of hiker bike going on there. So
and in the silver position this week is Kevin in the snow on the 2018 BH Rebel 29er, swapping the wheels around from his fat bike for the ultimate snow bike in the Garden of the Gods in Colorado Springs.
Wow, nice. And in first place this week, we've got Phil high up in the hills of Lake Onkagan. How do you say that, Steve? Okanagan.
Okanagan?
In BC on his Norco Sight VLT. Boost mode engaged all the time, so it sounds like an amazing ride.
Boost mode engaged in the fall time.
Oh, not all time. All time, full time.
But I think this picture encapsulates what e-mountain bike is all about. Up in the mountains, nice clear shot, nice shot of the bike. Remember, it's always about the bike as well as the environment you're taking those bikes in.
Yep.
Great stuff, really cool stuff.
Yeah, and don't forget, if you want to get featured on the Bike Vault, use the upload service. It could be you on next week's show.
Could be you. So that's it for this week's EMBN show. Let us know your thoughts on the new Forrestal bikes from Andorra and also the patent from Shimano on that gearbox system.
Yeah, exciting stuff for sure. But if you want to stick around, check out this video down here, E-Moto versus E-Mountain Bike, a head-to-head. Me and Steve out in Croatia. Me on an E-Moto, Steve on an E-Mountain Bike. Really exciting video.
Yeah. And see you next week to talk about boutique e-mountain bikes.
Yeah, don't forget, click the globe in the middle to subscribe to EMBN. Give us a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. And we'll see you next week.
Yeah.